gonna get switched over to the ripper today because I want to do that bean field and the 11-acre one I cut in the last video. Well, the last video of cutting bean. But it's behind the cultivator, so first things first, I gotta get the cultivator out of the way. So I got the forks on the 1600. That thing doesn't balance for shit, but it seems like I picked it up with the forks before, so I'm gonna give her a shot. Maybe I picked it up with a chain before. I honestly can't remember. Hold on, I remember what I did. If I remember right. There we go. I chained the center link mast to the back rack on the forks. That way the thing can't lay over backwards on me. Normally it'd just be easier to hook the damn thing up to the 3-point, but being a cultivator, they got the lower link pin set in so tight to keep it from swinging when it's on the tractor. It's a real pain in the ass to get hooked up. So you only hook that on the 3-point when you're actually fixing to cultivate. So get the white, drop the chisel plow, and hook the ripper up. Alrighty, we're hooked up. I didn't video it because this thing takes all your hands to get on there. This is where I really need to find a quick hitch for this thing, so you just back in, scoop it up, and be done with it. But gotta get the cultivator put back in it, the hole, get 1600 put away, and we can go start chisel plowing, or not chisel plowing, ripping. This thing was actually quite the damn chore to finally get to work right. When they built it, they had this hole drilled for a Cat 2 pin, and this hole drilled for I don't know what, but it was like a 1/4 inch too small for a Cat 2 pin to go in. So it would, the way they had it set up, when you had it on it worked on a Cat 2 hitch. But when you had it on a Cat 3 hitch like this is, if you got it where it was pulling level in the ground, when you picked it up, the thing would be like this and the shanks would be dragging. And if you got it where it would pick up, if you got it where it was picking up right, when you set it down in the ground, it was like this. There was no in between. And I ran it like that for a while. I was like, what the hell is going on? Well, I finally got on a computer and pulled up the dimensions for a category 3 3-point tree like that, and measured everything out, and the geometry, it needed to be in this hole for it to work right. So drilled that hole out big enough to put a Cat 2 pin in it, and because it's a Cat 3 lower lengths, but for some reason they still used a Cat 2 upper length, don't know why, but it works. But yeah, got that center link up where it needed to be. The thing works fine. Haven't had an issue with it since. And I got it going when the tires are squatting about 14 to 15 inches in the ground. The only way to get it to go deeper is to take the tires off, or take the whole gauge wheel assembly off, because there's no holes in it to go up any farther. So kind of is what it is, but that's plenty damn deep. Most guys only rip about 12. We're going plenty deep. So anyway, I'm going to get everything situated here and we will go hit the dirt. This ground's a little softer than the stuff that I rigged last year, so I'm hoping I can pull this thing in third, because it takes forever in second. Extend my top link a bit. She's kind of rocking forward. Yeah, it's pitched forward just a hair. How's that look? And go a little more to make up for the slack in the linkage. See how that works. That looks a lot better. here. I dropped in up there by the trees and went about 10 feet and smoked a rock. And I pulled out down here on the end, and that point was missing, which is no bueno because I don't have any spares, because I've been trying to get or use them up because I want to convert this thing over to unreversed points, because these points are junk. They don't tolerate rocks whatsoever. Basically what it does is it busts these tabs. Actually, that one's starting to break right there. It busts these tabs off and it just slides that damn point right up the shank. This was a terrible damn design, and the only place I can get these points is Shoop, and they're 40 bucks a piece. The unreversed ones, even through Shoop, are like 6 or 7 bucks a piece less. So, but I do have a shank laying over behind the garage, and I do have a point that I was going to use for a test. So we got a little bit of time here. Might go do that real quick just so I can get rolling again. Well, this is what we came up with. This is an unreversed style point, and that's the point that was on it. So this is strictly the experimental stage. We had to come in and shave about 1/8 of an inch off of both sides of the shank, and then welded it on rather than punching a hole in it and putting a pin in, because the way this shank is shaped, we were worried it was going to weaken it too much. So they're not going to be quite quick change, but as long as they don't break off all the time, it ain't going to be that big of a deal to come in with a cutoff wheel, buzz the welds off, slide one on, slide a new one on, and buzz a new point on for the few acres I'm covering every year with it. So the one thing that we might have to do, again, this is strictly experimental at this point, it's subject to change, is might have to weld a piece in here so that it's supported better, because on the unreversed they're a straight shank ripper, so the shank has got a little dog ear down here and then the shank comes straight up, where this is a parabolic shank. So head back down and see how she does. Well, as you can probably tell, it is now dark. I came down here with that new point, made one round, lost the one right next to it, got pissed. So now all 5 of them are converted. So we'll see how that goes. I knew this field was going to be a motherfucker. just finished this up. I probably had about 2 acres left to do after last night. But figured I'd just show you my prize pile. I quit finding stuff after I got like halfway through the long rows. But over here, what a mess. If anybody needs some garden hose, I can make you a good deal. Got some garden hose, got some number 9 fence wire, got, I think that's a lid off of a 55-gallon drum, pieces of a toilet tank. There's a pile of carpet out back that I ripped up. Now, laying right there, there's a big hunk of concrete and a fence post and a piece of concrete and some clay tile. And I'm sure once it rains, you'd be able to walk through here and find more crap just laying on top of the ground. But this field did need ripped something fierce. It was bad. I wasn't expecting it to be that hard. So hopefully next year we just gave the corn fight a chance of getting the root system. But anyway, I gotta get moving on to the next field. Alrighty, I've been working out here for a while. I got the north side of the driveway done. That up on top wasn't bad. That side hill, holy shit. That and the end rows. I actually stopped this thing and got a spare wheel hop and ripping the end rows. I've never had this thing wheel hop on me yet. podcast got deleted because, yeah, you could call it censoring people's voices, which is wrong and I don't believe in it. Wow, that's a pretty hard spot. But that being said too, this is still my channel. And you coming out here saying that shit is about the equivalent of you walking into my house and telling me this is the last ground I gotta rip. So I actually got one more field that I would like to rip, but I'm scared of what I'm gonna pull up if I go that deep, because I've plowed up a pig out of a Ford truck axle, I've pulled up a floor jack, I've pulled up rocks, I've pulled up miscellaneous engine part. I don't want to rip that field because I'm scared of what I'm gonna pull up. It's like a junkyard. Even though it needs it, I ain't doing it. But anyway, actually this is Thursday afternoon. I gotta think about it because third shift screws with your sense of time. This is Thursday afternoon. I was actually out here. I finished up that field that I was just in Tuesday afternoon. Came out here, made one pass along the edge, and right here, I don't know what the heck I hooked. It's got to be one, because now that I look at it, I thought I was a lot closer to that tree than I actually was, so I don't know what. It must be one hell of a taproot out here, but I hooked what I can only assume is a tree root, and took that shank and turned the point 90 degrees. That point was right here. So I had to, well, I took it home Tuesday night. There was a thunderstorm rolling in, so we didn't have a whole lot of time, but Dad and I worked on it a little bit there in the driveway, and had the 1955 chain to it here, and had the 1600 chain to it here, kind of pulling it at an angle like that. And actually we had to hook it twice. At first we started pulling it at an angle, we went up underneath the white, in between the front and the rear tires, and then we got it pulled around straight enough that I was pulling about like that. But regardless, we took two tractors and we got it pulled out somewhat straight, and then took it off the plow. And I had to go to work, but Dad decided to mess with a little more that night, and he got most of it pushed out in the shop press. And then yesterday I put it back on, and I had to chain it back up to the 19 and give it one more little yank. And if you kind of look, and you really gotta look right about here, there's still a little bit of an ant in it that won't come out, but I mean, you really gotta look at it. And I wish I took a picture of it on Snapchat, and I wish I'd have saved it to show you. But it was, I mean, it was bad. The thing was from here to here, it was just ant. So how we got it out that straight, I don't know. I never did ask Dad how hard it pushed out in the press, because it's made out of AR steel, which is basically armor plate. But yeah, I really don't, because I thought I did it here, but I did it there, and that doesn't seem close enough to that tree to have a root big enough to do that. So unless there's something else buried there, I don't know, but it was tweaked. But that was Tuesday night. And then Tuesday around midnight, we had a cold front roll through, and it dumped about a ½ inch of rain in about 5 minutes. So I let it sit yesterday to let it rained so hard that it didn't really soak in, but it left the top kind of greasy. So I figured I'd let the top firm back up a little bit so I could not have to. It was just better to let it dry. So we should be good to go now. But I'm probably gonna go ahead and just do this little 1 acre off camera, and then when I get over there into the bigger field, I'll move the camera around some and get some video, and that'll be the end of it. So let's get rolling. we are done, which is probably a good thing because God knows how long this video's gotten. I guess it's very long. I'll know when I put it together. I think we did a world of good out here. Didn't really do a whole lot right up here by the house because this ground is kind of light, but this little roll right here in the ground that heads up through there, back there, that ground was hard. Like, I can't believe there's any beans back there. I was down in second gear under, and I was still having to lift the plow up a little bit to get enough traction to pull it. It was hard. So anyhow, go home, drop the ripper because I'm done with that. I did find a transmission lube line right there in the pivot joint that apparently cracked a flare, and it's weeping a little bit, so I'm probably gonna fix that real quick tonight. Shouldn't take much more than 15-20 minutes. And tomorrow we're gonna switch back to running the Glencoe. Got about 16 acres left to sizzle plow with that, and then the white will be done for the year. And got about 2 and 3.5, 4. Got about 9 acres of bean ground left to chisel plow with my 3-point chisel plow, and then about 20 acres left to moldboard. So should be sitting pretty good after tomorrow afternoon, but it's supposed to rain all weekend, so that's gonna put a damper on things till probably Tuesday next week. So anyway, need to get this video cut off here. So that's it for this one. We'll catch y'all on the next one.